All right, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Lillian Magallanes, and I'm one of the industry specialists here at Bluebeam Software. And with me today, I have Jeanette Popiel, who's also an industry specialist. And like I mentioned earlier, for those who jumped on the call, I am in a room full of other Bluebeamers at the Pasadena headquarters office. So they are standing by to take in your questions, if any, during this webinar. So we are so finally excited to talk about Bluebeam Review 2015. It was finally released on February 3rd, 2015. But first, let me start off by saying that Bluebeam Software is not your typical software company, and I'm sure that most of you guys already know that. The fact that we do push the limits in creating intuitive PDF-based digital markup and collaboration solutions. Our approach to development is actually really simple. We pick our customers' brains, engage in ongoing conversations with them, and walking them through their projects to understand their workflows. Our solutions evolve as our customers' needs do. And then we build solutions to simplify and speed up the tasks for each phase in the project lifecycle by viewing, editing, and sharing documents quickly so teams can keep projects moving forward with less idle time spent waiting around. All right, with that being said, let's talk about the new features for Review 2015. Here they are. Feel like it's the Oscars. First one is the batch overlay, which automates the process of creating overlay comparisons between multiple pairs of files. Next, we have batch slip sheeting, which automates the process of keeping complex file setups to date, allowing users to append, pre-pen, or replace existing page content with new file revisions. Last, we have batch comparison, which has been enhanced with the new auto-matching functions found in slipsheet and batch overlay, and it also has some overall user interface improvements. Next, we have sets. We know that sets enables you and your team to navigate a large collection of individual PDFs as if they were single multi-page documents. And Sets 3.0 introduces the following enhancements. Sets files can now be added to custom categories that you can arrange in any desired order. Users also now have the options to replace existing page content, add a revision filter, and also the user will see overall performance improvements. Next, we have Cloud Plus, which is a new markup tool that combines the functionality of the cloud and the column markup into a single tool. This also means that only a single markup will appear in the markup slits itself. And one of the most highly requested feature of all time, it's finally here. You guys ready? It is Sketch Tools, which is a suite of new markup tools that allows you to quickly create polygon, polyline, rectangle, and ellipse markups to exacting measurement based on a PDF's calibrated scale and a CAD-like heads-up display. Pretty cool. Make sure you guys tweet that. Now, we also added a dynamic toolset scaler, which enables markups to automatically resize precisely and proportionally when used on documents of different scales, eliminating the need to create separate toolsets for working with different scales. Additionally, all group markups now resize proportionally in Review regardless of scale settings. We've also enhanced Spaces. At its core, Spaces allows you to sort and report on markups based on the user-defined zone they reside in. With Review 2015, users can now copy and paste spaces across the page and files, create an error measure markup directly from spaces, and add hyperlinks to and from spaces in the place document. We've also updated Capture. Now you can also include video with audio and embed that into a markup. The PDF summary has also been reformatted to feature capture images in a more prominent layout, and it's now possible to see which markups contain capture media from within the markups list. And last, we have Studio, has had some great enhancements. Users can now schedule session and dates. Ooh, I love that. Files added to a session from project can now manually be updated and checked back into a project as revision at any time without finalizing the session. And now they have shareable file links. You can now share a project file with anyone via Studio Link. And also, this is one of my favorites you can now have project folder permissions that can now be set on a per folder basis. Are you guys ready to see Review 2015 in action? I hope so. Jeanette, you ready?
Yeah. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm assuming most of you guys have seen Bluebeam Review before, so I'm going to go ahead and just jump into the new features because I know that's what everybody's here to see today. So the first thing we're going to go over today is the new batch overlay feature. So under the File Command tab up above there, you'll see one that says Batch, and we're going to go ahead and grab our batch overlay feature. And what we're going to do is grab our original sheets first, because what we want to do is overlay our original sheets here. And we're also going to now grab our revised sheets or our newly issued sheets here. And we're going to use Revu's auto matching pages here by the following categories. So right now we have the option to use file name, page index, or we can also choose to match our pages by the page label, the page region, or if your naming convention is not in any kind of corresponding way, you can also manually correlate those files. And if you click on the advanced button there, you can also type in your own revision filters. But today I'm going to go ahead and show how the auto matching feature works here. And we're going to go ahead and click on match. When we're inside of this batch overlay dialog here, you'll get a list of all of our matched pages. If you need to reorder these sheets in any way, just select them and use the blue arrows on the side. Or if you want to delete any of the sheets from the list, you can also use the red X to remove those. Also, you'll notice that there are colors on the right and the left side, and these are the colors that are going to be applied for our drawings when we overlay them. So that way you'll be able to see these drawings overlaid on top of each other. If you want to edit the default colors, just click on Edit Defaults. You can also choose to adjust that background color, the blend mode, the positioning, but today we're going to leave this straight out of the box so you can see how this feature works. And we're going to go ahead and choose OK. And we'll be able to see all of our drawings overlaid on top of each other. But before we get to that, we'll get this nice summary list here that lists out all of our pages that are about to be overlaid. If you have any sheets that are unmatched, it'll also tell you which sheets have not been matched up. And at the bottom there, we have the option to create a report. Now this report can either be in PDF format, or for those of you Excel users out there, you can also export to CSV. I'm going to go ahead and use a PDF report today. And I'm going to click OK. And now I get this report that is hyperlinked. So I'll get the list of all of our overlaid pages. So we'll get the revised page, the current page, and then the overlaid document. So if we click that overlaid document, you'll see it automatically open. And it'll ask us if we want to open up our layers tab, which we have here. So now with these layers, we can turn them on and off. And you can see that those colors have been applied. So it's really easy to detect the changes that have come about in this revision because it's nicely color-coded there for us. All right, so that is, again, our batch overlay inside of the File Batch tab. The next feature we're going to go over is also in the batch drop down there. This one is actually called Batch Slip Sheet, but just keep in mind that Batch Slip Sheet is available inside of Revu Extreme only. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab my original files, and you'll notice in that preview there that my original files do have markups on them. So I'm going to go ahead and grab them, and I'm going to grab now my revised sheets. So for those of you that are dealing with several revisions and you want to start being able to keep track of those revisions and also manage your markups with those revisions, batch slip sheeting is the way to go. Now for matching our pages, we have the same options we had before: file name, page index, page label, page region, and manual correlation. I'm going to use the same settings that we used for batch overlay. Also keep in mind, if you run this process more than once, you can always save this batch so that way you can run this in the future and load a previously used batch. Now for batch slip sheet, you'll recognize the auto matched pages here like we had before. Again, you can reorder them, remove the sheets as you need to. Now for slip sheeting, we have two different options here. We have the option to insert the revised pages before the current pages, or we can replace them all together with that revised pages. And we also have the option here to go ahead and use that check mark to copy our markups from the current page to the revised page. Also, we can stamp the current page with a nice superseded stamp, so that way we can always know which one is the current page and which one as the newly issued page. So we can go ahead and say OK. And what we're going to do is we're going to insert our revised page before the current page. And you'll also see here that we get this nice summary list like we did before. And so we'll get a nice list of everything that's been matched. We can also then create a report to either PDF or CSV. So let's go ahead and create that report. And again, this report is hyperlinked. So we can see the revised page and it was inserted before the current page. So if we click on that hyperlink here, now we'll get the one that says superseded. And if we look at our thumbnails now, you'll see that the revised sheet has been inserted in front and all of our markups have copied over to our newly issued sheet. So this is huge for those of you that were using this in the manual way of going sheet by sheet and using replace pages. Now we have a way to do this to multiple sheets at once with the batch slip sheet feature. Again, this is available inside of Revu Extreme Edition only. All right, so next, last but not least, we have another batch feature here, and that one is called batch comparison. Revu is actually going to compare our drawings for us. So what we want to do is, again, grab our original sheets here, and then we're going to go ahead and grab our revised sheets. And you'll see our sheets, again, we have the options to match those pages in the same methods we did before. We're going to go ahead and match up those sheets now. And you'll see here's our list of matched sheets. We're going to go ahead and click on OK. We'll get our list again, our summary list like we did before with our other batch features. And this also does work even if you have, let's say, 200 pages for your current sheet and only 100 of those have been revised. You can still use the batch compare documents feature. Now down at the bottom, if there are any unmatched pages, again, it'll be listed there. And again, we have the option to create a PDF report or a CSV report. So we're going to go ahead and run that report here, and we'll get a list of all of the total differences identified at the top. And we'll also get the number of differences identified per the sheet. So you'll see that this one has 4 differences on that sheet. So if we want to see the differences, what we would do is click the comparison document. So if we click that comparison document, you'll see that any of those revisions have been detected, and Revu has automatically placed a cloud on those revised sheets. So again, here it is. It's picked up all of the revised areas, including our title block and even the printing date on our sheet. So again, that is under batch comparison. So that about does it for our batch features in Revu 2015. The next thing we're going to talk about is how to organize your files with an all-new Sets 3.0. So those of you who have been using Sets previously, if we want to go ahead and create a new set, you will automatically notice a little notification that pops up. Since Revu has been revamped with all kinds of new features and performance enhancements, just keep in mind that Revu 2015 Sets files are no longer compatible with previous versions of Revu. So just keep that in mind. What we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and create our new set here. And when we add documents, you'll notice that there's a brand new pop-up window that'll say Select Categories Template. What the Categories Template does is it now allows you to organize your sheets by discipline. Since we know most of your sheets are not organized in an alphanumeric ascending order, you now have the option to actually group those sheets by the discipline name and order them in any desired order. So this template here is straight out of the box called Construction, and you can see here that we have general sheets first, as we normally do in a project, then civil, landscape, etc. If you want to edit any of these categories or filters, just simply double click in that window there and start renaming them or typing them in. If you want to add new disciplines, just simply click on the green plus button there, add in your category and your filter. If you want to reorder these disciplines in any way, use those blue arrows on the left-hand side. If you want to remove any of them, again, you have that red X to remove those disciplines. If you want to go ahead and just save this template as a brand new template, just click on Save As, and you can also use that import button to import one someone else has created. Also keep in mind that you can assign multiple filters to a single category using semicolons as a separator. So in case you had, let's say, architectural demolition and maybe you also have site demolition, you can add those in as well using the filter. All right, let's go ahead and use our default construction template here. And we're just going to grab our original drawings first to build out our set. Now we can sort those sheets by file name and page label. Alphanumeric ascending is perfect for us right now. if we want to go ahead and click on the Advanced button, you'll see if you have any filters that you want to apply, you can type those in there using the wildcard filter there. And our previous revisions, we're going to leave them as cross out and stack. But now you'll also notice in Review 2015 that Sets 3.0 has a couple new options in there. One of them, you'll see that we now have the ability to copy markups to the newly added revisions. And it will also unflatten markups before it's copied and flatten them after they're copied. You'll also see a checkbox there to stamp the previous revisions as superseded. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And now, again, you can also save this configuration here and or open a previously created one. But I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And now you'll see on the left-hand side, we get our thumbnails with all of our sheets. And you'll notice that our general sheets come first, followed by our structural. If we hide the thumbnails, you'll see that we get a nicely organized sets file with all of our sheets organized per the discipline that we used in those templates. Now, let's go ahead and talk about now adding revisions to our set. So we're going to go ahead and add in our revisions. Again, we get that message just letting us know that Review 2015 Sets is not compatible with previous versions of Review. I'm going to go ahead and add in my new sheets here, and I'm going to click OK. So here are our revised sheets. Now, you'll notice that Review 2015 and Sets 3.0, it'll automatically match up and say, here's our current page, here's our revised page. You'll get this nicely matched list. Now, you'll also see that it says click OK to copy our markups over. If you choose to skip it, then those markups will not be copied. We're going to go ahead and click OK, and we're going to copy those markups and stamp the previous page as superseded. So now those pages are being replaced in there, and our markups are copied over. And again, as in previous versions of Sets, you'll see here that we had our stacking option selected. So as we browse through here on our sets, any sheets that have newly added revisions, they will be stacked on top of each other, and the previous revision will be crossed out. So here we go. Here's our A201. You'll notice here, there's our superseded stamp. And if we go now to the newly issued sheet, then we have our newly issued sheet. Let's go ahead and keep going. So within Sets 3.0, there's also a new feature in here that I wanted to point out to you guys. If we go to a sheet that has newly issued revisions to it, we can now compare documents directly from Sets. So if we right click on those sheets, you can automatically go ahead and just go straight to compare documents or straight to overlay pages. So that's a nice little shortcut for you guys there. If you want to detect changes or overlay pages on top of each other, you can go straight from Sets to that new feature. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. I know there's a lot more new features that we wanted to cover today. So I'm going to go ahead and open up our sheet here. The next thing we're going to talk about is our newly issued markup tool called Cloud Plus. Let's go ahead and go on to this floor plan here. So new on our markup tab here, you'll see that we have under the Cloud tool, we have the Cloud Plus. This is kind of like a two-in-one tool. So for those of you that are using the cloud and callout separately, you can now just simply draw a cloud and you'll see an attached leader there. And we can use our callout now in any desired location. So if we click, we can now start typing to add in our comment. So if we need to add in a detail here or verify the dimensions in there, we can go ahead and use our Cloud Plus tool. And the great thing about Cloud Plus is that if you need to move this markup, it now moves both of them together in one tool. And in our markups list, you'll see that the markups list is only populated with one markup. So again, the Cloud Plus tool can be found in the markup tab under Shapes, or you can also see it in the toolbar on the right-hand side there, right next to the Cloud tool. The next thing we're going to talk about is that this Cloud Plus tool is also available inside of the iPad as well. And we also wanted to show the next markup feature that is brand new to Review 2015. For those of you that have been asking for this feature, I hope you're paying attention. This is one of our most requested items, and this is the Sketch Tools feature. So again, in that markup tab, you'll see Sketch to Scale. We can sketch polygon sketch to scale, rectangle sketch to scale, ellipse, or polyline. So if we wanted to, let's say, draw a piece of furniture inside of our drawing here, we can use that polyline tool or the polygon tool and start sketching out the exact dimensions of our furniture. So if we know that the conference table in there is a specific length, we can type in the length of that table, type in the rotation, and we will get our drawing that is drawn, or a sketch that is perfectly to scale according to the scale of our drawing. Please keep in mind we've already calibrated this drawing previously, so the scale is already set for the drawing, so we're free to start using those sketch to scale features. Again, sketch to scale is in that markup tab under sketch, and we can use the simple type in the length and rotation, and we get our table here drawn perfectly to scale. All right, also new in Revu 2015 is the ability, you'll see under there we have the rectangle polyline as well. So if we go ahead and just draw a line from end to end, let's go ahead and do that. So if we want to see the length of this room here, type that in. We can also turn on our dimensions here in the Properties tab. Let's go ahead and right click, go to Properties. You can show the caption and show all measurements as well, and you can see the entire length measurement there. So again, that's another way to use that sketch to scale feature. All right, also new in Revu 2015 when we're talking about drawing things to scale, one of my favorite features is called the Dynamic Toolset Scaler. So we're gonna open up our tool chest here. And in our tool chest, you'll see that we have a new tool chest here called Dynamic Scaling that we've created. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to reuse your markups no matter what scale your drawing or viewport may be. So as you can see here, we have an electrical plan, and the overall electrical plan is 1/8 inch scale, but the enlarged plan with the electrical room, that one has a viewport on it, and it's set to 1/4 inch equals a foot. So we're gonna go ahead and use this switchboard here from our tool chest, and we're gonna apply it to our electrical room. And as you can see, it's going to be placed right there in that room. But if we want to go ahead and place it now in the enlarged plan, we're going to slowly add that to our room here. And what that's going to do is you'll notice as we slowly move it over, you're going to see it's going to automatically resize to the appropriate scale of our enlarged plan. Again, we have created a viewport on this sheet previously. And we've calibrated the scale of the drawing, so now we can start using that dynamic toolset scaler. So to set the scale of our tool set, what we did was we clicked on that blue gear wheel on our tool set, and when you click there, you'll see it says set scale. We're going to set the scale. We've set it already at 1/8 inch equals a foot, and that is the scale in which this tool set was created. So now this is our baseline scale. So any new scale, it's going to resize according to the new scale. So if we were to add, let's say, a door or toilet, whatever we want inside of that tool set, it's going to resize. Now keep in mind also that you'll see a nice little ruler there with a gold box around it. That means our dynamic toolset scaler is turned on. If we click on that ruler and turn it off and we try to add in any of these fixtures, you'll notice it no longer resizes. So again, once you set that baseline scale, just make sure you turn on that dynamic toolset scaler ruler there, and you can start reusing your tool sets no matter what size or scale your other drawings may be. So again, this is great for furniture, landscape items, even symbols, whatever markups you like to use inside your tool sets, you can reuse these now for future drawings no matter what scale those drawings may be. Also keep in mind that this dynamic toolset scaler is available on the iPad as well. All right, for those of you who are dealing with the punch process, I'm going to go ahead and talk about a couple features that may be useful for you guys to make that punch process just a little bit easier, because we all know how much we love the punch process. So we have our floor plan here that we've already started adding spaces to this floor plan for our punch walk. What I wanted to talk to you guys about is some new enhancements to the spaces feature. So one of them that you see, we've already added these zones with rooms within these zones. If we right click on zone A here, you'll notice a new feature. For those of you who've been requesting this, I hope you're paying attention. You can now copy and paste spaces. So if you have two floors that are somewhat identical here, we're going to go ahead and copy and paste those zones in there. And so now you'll see not only does the zone come through, but all those individual rooms come through with the copy and paste. Keep in mind we've used paste in place, which is Control-Shift-V to paste those spaces in the exact same location. Also keep in mind if you delete a room within a zone, it only deletes the individual room. It no longer deletes the entire zone. Also brand new within Spaces in 2015, you can now actually generate measurements directly from Spaces. So if you want to verify the square footage of any of these rooms, all you need to do is right click on that space and say create area measurement. And a new area measurement will be created automatically. So it's kind of a little shortcut for those of you that are using Spaces and needs those area measurements. Also new within Spaces, if we go ahead and right click again on there, you can also now hyperlink directly to or from a space. So you'll see that link button there on the right hand side. If we click on that hyperlink tool, we can now use Spaces to create our hyperlink. So if we use that hyperlink button there, one of the new features you can now do is actually hyperlink directly to or from a space. So here we go, under space, you'll see here a list of all of our spaces that we can hyperlink to or from. So a nice little shortcut for those of you that are using hyperlinks and want to hyperlink to and from your spaces. So also I know I see a couple questions there of copying and pasting zones across files. You can copy and paste those across files, just like we've shown here today. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. Also in relationship to Punch, is a brand new feature that we've added, actually an enhancement to a feature that hopefully some of you guys are already aware of. Last year we introduced the capture feature to be able to attach photos to your markups. And new with Review 2015, we have Capture 2.0, which now allows you to record video with audio. So as you can see here, we have a nice video here attached, so it helps clarify any of our punch items. So for those of you that are walking the job site and need to clarify any of your punch items, you can now record video with audio to your punch items. To do this, all we've done is we've taken our markup and we've right-clicked and said capture from camera. Keep in mind when you are recording from camera that in order to attach a video, you would need to use the capture feature. You cannot browse from file. With capture, I know some people always ask, the immediate question I always get is, what about file size with these videos? So in this example, we had a typical floor plan here. We've attached a 30-second video using the default settings in Review, and it resulted in about a 500 kilobyte file. So not too big for a 30-second video attachment. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. I know the next feature we're going to talk about is in relationship to Studio. So what we're going to do is go over our Studio features. But before we get to that, I wanted to also make sure I showed you guys one of my favorite things in relationship to capture as well. So in our markups list, we now have the ability to actually show our capture items more prominently. So you'll see a brand new column that was added in here. So if we go to columns, you now have a capture column. So you can sort and filter by the items that do have capture media. And you can generate a whole new capture media report or capture summary report. If we click on that, you can attach that media as linked files. So if we go ahead and click on OK, we'll get this brand new capture media summary report. So now you can see our images are displayed much more prominently. We get all of our markup comments there. And if we click on any of these, you'll notice that these are attachments, so it will open up. So even if you're sharing this file with someone who does not have Review, they can go ahead and open up and see all of these attachments. Also, if you are creating a generic summary report, so we go back to our markups list here, and we do a full summary report without filter, you'll see there you also have the option to append to current PDF and include the capture media as addendum and attach those media as linked file. So you'd get a full summary report of all of your punch items, and at the end you would get that capture media summary report. So here's our generic markup summary report, and at the end here in our thumbnails tab, you can see that we also have our drawing and we have all of our capture media as well, and it's all fully hyperlinked. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the next section. We're gonna go over the brand new enhancements that we've added to Studio. So some of the Studio enhancements, don't worry, we will show you how these work, but just to give you an overall view here, for those of you that are managing several Studio sessions at one time, you can now actually schedule session end dates. So you can set in the date and time you wish that session to end. You can also now set folder permissions. So I know many of you who are using Studio projects out there want to be able to manage permissions a bit better. So now we have folder permissions. And you can share files directly from Studio projects using file links. So let's go ahead and show that. Now we're going to jump into Studio here. And we have already created a Studio session here. So we're just going to jump into that Studio session. And on the settings tab there, you'll see an expiration option. If we check that box, we can choose the date and time that we wish for this Studio session to end. Keep in mind that as the creator, I can still go back and save these files at the end of the session. I'm just limiting access from everybody else. I'm closing out the Studio session for everyone else. Also, keep in mind that you will receive notifications, and those people who have been invited to the Studio session, they will receive email alerts letting them know that the Studio session end date is approaching. All right. Also new within Studio here is you can now update your Studio projects directly from session. So you no longer have to close out of a Studio session within projects. You can just update your project copy automatically from a Studio session just by right-clicking and saying update project copy. All right, let's go ahead and now talk about Studio projects. I've already created this project previously. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about was the ability to now set folder permissions within Studio projects. So if we open up our settings tab, there's a brand new tab in there called folder permissions. So now you can enable folder level permissions. So as you can see here, by default, everything says inherit from parent. So all of your folders there and all of your access there, if we want to go ahead and change any of these, let's say for instance, we want to limit access to our field reports folder, we can go ahead and change those folder permissions. Let's say our general contractor, we don't want them to be able to see those field reports at all. We can hide them so they don't even know that folder is in there. Or we can go ahead and choose read write access only, or read only, or read write delete access. So again, you can create those different groups and create different permissions for those groups. Again, it is folder level permissions. So if you have subfolders within there, it's by default, it's going to inherit from parent, or you can choose different permissions for those subfolders as well. So keep in mind those folder level permissions are all found under the folder permissions tab. Also inside of Studio Sessions, let's go ahead and click on apply so we can apply that there. And also new with Review 2015, inside of Studio Projects, you can now share files directly from Studio Projects to maybe someone who does not have a copy of Studio or a Studio account. You can just right click here and say share link. What will happen is you'll get this dialog that's going to ask you, do you want to share this file for the lifetime of the project or just 24 hours? Also, for those of you who want to set a password to open up the file, you can go ahead and require a password. If you want to flatten your document before you share it, you can also go ahead and send them a flattened copy of the file as well. We're going to go ahead and click OK, and you'll see there's the link. We can copy that link here, and we're going to go ahead and open it inside of Review in our web tab here. And we're going to show you what this share link page looks like. And so now this is what the recipient would see. You'll see they get the file name, they will see who this file has been shared by, and all they need to do is just click download to download a copy of that file. Keep in mind, if you want to see all of your files that you've shared or manage all of your shared links, under the project settings tab, you get a little link that says manage shared links. So this will open up a web tab here, and it gives you all of your studio shared links. So there's all of your studio projects. So if we open up this project, we'll see all of the links that we have shared. And if you want to expire that link or revoke access to that file at any time, just click on that expire button, and that will terminate that link for that shared file. Keep in mind that the shared link is per individual file. All right, that about does it for Studio. I'm going to go ahead and hand things over, and Lily's going to talk to you about the new enhancements to the iPad.
All right, so many of you guys work in the office and in the field using the Revu iPad application. Well, in the new iPad 3.0, which was recently released, which includes the newly added Studio Go that dramatically accelerates rendering speed on the iPad without modifying the original PDF. Users can still mark up as normal. It also applies to documents of larger formats, and it will accelerate the files, and it's free for all Studio users on the iPad. That's actually the best part. It's free. Also, with the iPad, there's also background syncing that's now possible, so users can continue working while files are syncing within Document Manager. An animated indicator will let you know when the syncing is done. And also, the users can now hyperlink to folders instead of just individual files, with that being said. Now, a couple more things I want to mention within Revu is a couple of other features that have been added to Revu 2015. We have enhanced our Microsoft Office export featuring, making it easier to take text from a scanned document to make it fully editable in Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. In addition, you can now export just a portion of the page, like a specific text or a table content, and export it out instead of exporting the entire page. We've also added a digital signature panel. So when you open a document in Revu 2015 that contains signature fields, Revu will prompt a window message asking you if you would like to open the panel. And once you have the panel open, it will list all the digital signature fields that are on the document and the statuses. And when you click on each signature within Revu, it will navigate you to that place, to that page within, if it's a multi-page PDF document that you're looking at. So that pretty much concludes all the new features with Bluebeam Revu 2015. I would like to give you guys a big thank you for carving out time out of your schedule to call us in. Also, a huge thank you for all of you guys who are calling in from different locations. It has been a whole lot of fun to see where you guys are checking in from. We are still taking questions, so a lot of questions have not been answered. So if your question has not been answered, please hang on so we can answer that question for you. Keep in mind that this webinar is being recorded, and we will send you guys an email to those who attended the webinar when it will be posted on our website. So again, if you have any questions, continue to type in those questions in the questions window, and our Bluebeamers here would go ahead and answer those questions for you. Also, if you guys are tweeting this morning, be sure to go ahead and hashtag Revu 2015 and let us know what you liked about the new features in 2015, and also let us know how you guys are planning to use those new features. I hear a lot of good stories coming in from customers who are starting to use the batch slip sheeting, which has been really awesome, and it's really changing and also really making their workflow a whole lot easier for them. So keep those questions coming in, and I'm still going to hang on, and I'll check in just in a few minutes. In the meantime, if you have to go, if you have all your questions answered, again, thank you for your time. You can go ahead and exit the webinar.